Hello Internet, and welcome to the Vive Spray review show. I'm so happy that I can finally do graffitis in the virtual realities. The ability to do graffiti in a non-arrestable way is going to be huge for the art world and will make much more powerful and talented artists have a much wider exposure. I'm a little biased because I know the story behind the game, which is that the artist really wanted to play a graffiti simulator in virtual reality, and instead of whining and crying about it, he went out and made one for himself. Plus, I'm afraid if I'm too hard on it, this guy will shoot lasers at his eyes and burn me up to a little crisp of forgotten data. And at the end of the day, if you're really into making art and making brick walls beautiful, this is the game for you. The game did give me a bunch of ideas on how to make it a little bit better. The first thing is that you should put some sort of like an arrow on the can showing exactly where the collider is for the menus, so that you can make it a little bit more accurate, and kind of, it's not a big deal, but it would be a little bit faster if I knew exactly where it was. Another nice addition would be if you could somehow move the wall up and down, or move up and down on the wall. With me and my low ceilings, I have kind of a small canvas, but no matter what size your ceiling was, if you could move up and down the wall, you could make your canvas space times infinity. Also, you could put box cars and billboards and just all kinds of different environments fairly easily. Just get a bunch of assets and make them destructible, because that would be rad. Another idea that you could do once the game sold a bunch is make it an expensive asset itself, where somebody could have a crazy game that had a little mini game. Which brings me to another mini game, which from a developer standpoint is probably some work, but whenever I was actually in a graffiti crew in the early 90s, I was a terrible freehand artist. So the way I would do most of my work would be to print out what I wanted to do on stencils and then spray paint over the stencils. This kind of comes into the whole idea I had that if you wanted to do like a graffiti simulator, you could maybe just add a simple timer to it, and you had to cover X amount of space before the timer ran out and the police showed up and you had to run away. Or also you could do things like having the guy have to go through like a stealth style game to get to where you were gonna tag, because when you were doing graffiti, part of the fun, a lot of the fun was actually having to, get up into the weird spots where everybody could see your work. And you could make a super simple stencil editor that you could like import a JPEG in and just have it, all the black spots be cutouts, and then it could just be like a little tiny piece of paper asset that you would tape up to the wall, spray paint over, and then remove from the wall. If you could have the paint run when you held it in one spot a little bit, that would also be really cool. The hours you can spend in this game overall make it easily worth $7. I'm sure I'll be playing with it every time I get bored, and I can put up my funky graph all over this land.